like a tide. When the storm gets rough, we ain't gonna hide. Propaganda swirling, but it won't touch me. Only love around, that's how it's gonna be. Keep moving forward, never looking back. The truth's in the power, it's an unstoppable track. In the city lights where dreams collide, we hustle through the night, fire in our stride. Whispers in the dark can't dim my glow. With rhythm in my soul, I'm ready for the show. We break the chains, rewrite the rules. In this concrete jungle where nobody's fools. Unity sings louder than the lies they scheme. In the heart of the struggle, we dare to dream. Keep moving forward, never looking back. The truth's in the power, it's an unstoppable track.
Another Queen Ahmadiyyah production.
Haze on the corner, they talking real loud. Spreading no light, trying to bring me down. Enemies lurking, but I won't back away. Got a vision in my mind, I'm here to stay. Put my crew beside me, we rise like a tide. When the storm gets rough, we ain't gonna hide. Propaganda swirling, but it won't touch me. Only love around, that's how it's gonna be. Keep moving forward, never looking back. The truth's in the power, it's an unstoppable track. In the city lights where dreams collide, we hustle through the night, fire in our stride. Whispers in the dark can't dim my glow. With rhythm in my soul, I'm ready for the show. We break the chains, rewrite the rules. In this concrete jungle where nobody's fools. Unity sings louder than the lies they scheme. In the heart of the struggle, we dare to dream. Keep moving forward, never looking back. The truth's in the power, it's an unstoppable track. Haze on the corner, they talking real loud. Spreading no light, trying to bring me down. Enemies lurking, but I won't back away. Got a vision in my mind, I'm here to stay. Put my crew beside me, we rise like a tide. When the storm gets rough, we ain't gonna hide. Propaganda swirling, but it won't touch me. Only love around, that's how it's gonna be. Keep moving forward, never looking back. The truth's in the power, it's an unstoppable track. In the city lights where
All right, hello, Grand Rising, everyone. Thanks for tuning back in once again to the original Queen Ahmadiyyah show. I'm your host, Queen Ahmadiyyah, and this is your morning wake-up call. So as you're coming in, please feel free to go ahead and subscribe to the channel if you haven't done so already. Be sure to click that notification bell and click the word all so you're notified each time the Queen Goddess goes live. Okay, so let's get into it. And don't forget to follow me on Instagram at Dr_A_Shakur and X or Twitter at DGoddess27. All right, hello to Crazy Beach Aries. Nessie X is in the house. Miss Sheila, Dragon Lily, April. Vince I Am from the UK. All hell no. All right, let's get into it. Cecilia, 504 Nola is here. Miss Sheila, Nessie X. Okay, Nanny Brooke is in the house. All right, so everyone hit that like button. I see you, TC Dan. Nubian Cutie is here. Desmond is in the house. Shout out to my moderators because they really be putting in work. They do such a great job. Okay, King Lion Crown is here. Fat Boot is in the house. All right, so shout out to everyone tuned into the Queen. Shout out to the people in the chat. And let's get ready to get into it. All right, we have a myriad of topics to discuss. So where shall we start? Let's start with the fact that A$AP Rocky has been found not guilty. All right, and he put it all on the line and took a risk. I mean, they were offering him like 18 months. I think like 18 months at first, but he went to trial because, you know, he felt like he was completely innocent and he wasn't going to take a deal. All right, and shout out to him because he was facing about 24 years. Okay, and you know, Riri brought the kids to court, and I thought that was an excellent thing to do, because I'm quite sure they gave some of the jurors, you know, more empathy for him, seeing his young children, and then not to mention his accuser was just getting caught in all kinds of lies. And now they're actually thinking about, you know, his A$AP's attorneys are talking about having him prosecuted, okay, for lying. They say he perjured himself. Right, I find it also interesting. This is what jealousy will do. Sometimes, I've told you all this a myriad of times, that some people are not really your friends and they'll pretend to be your biggest cheerleaders, but really, they just want to have a front row seat to your demise. Okay, please pay attention. This is Riri taking the kids to into the courtroom.
Rihanna, you look fabulous.
Rihanna, are you hoping this wraps up today? Are you hoping this wraps up today?
Now, let me just tell you guys something. I'm quite sure the jurors were elated to see Riri in there. And like I said, the kids brought an air of empathy, I'm sure. Now, just imagine if that were Jay-Z on trial and Beyonce waltzes into the courtroom with her kids, or with their kids. Jay-Z's not going to jail, I keep telling y'all. Just imagine if that were Jay-Z, okay? Jigga man. So anyway, with that all being said, now let's go to what his attorney, let's go to the moment that they declared him not guilty. And then we got to talk about Diddy, because y'all, Diddy is out here crying racism. Diddy said, no, we got to get this dismissed because this is all racist. It has racist origins. That's what Diddy said, honey. Diddy is throwing everything at the wall to see what sticks. He wants out of there. And now that he sees that he got one case dismissed, he's like, shit, we can get all these dismissed. Oh, come on, Mark. You know you can do it. That's what he's telling Mark Agnifilo. Come on, Mark. I know y'all can do it. You and Teeny. Get me up out of here. No, Diddy, not so fast.
For the announcement of the jury's decision in ASAP Rocky's 2 felony counts of assault with a semi-automatic firearm. Again, the jury deliberated for 2 to 4 hours today. We understand that will be read momentarily, so we're just going to check in, leave up the mics, and see what we hear in downtown LA.
What we're going to do, folks, is Deputy Bennett is going to give the verdict forms to juror number 1. Juror number 1, I want you to look at the verdict forms, and I'm going to want to know whether these verdict forms reflect your true and correct verdicts. Juror 2, I'd like you to look over her shoulder so you can review the verdict forms. And I want to know from you whether these are your true and correct verdicts. Once I've heard from both of you, give the verdict forms to juror number 3. Juror 3, look at the verdict forms. Juror 4, look over her shoulder. So ultimately, I'm going to want to hear from all 12 of you whether these verdict forms reflect your individual true and correct verdicts. Everybody understand? All right. You got it? Juror number 1, are those your true and correct verdicts? Juror number 2?
Yes.
Juror 3 and 4? Juror 5 and 6? Juror 5, are those your true and correct verdicts? Yes. Juror 6? All right, let's get the verdict forms to juror 7. Juror 8, look over your shoulder. Juror number 7, those are your true and correct verdicts? Juror 7?
Yes.
Juror 8?
Yes.
9 and 10? Yes. Juror 10? Yes. 11 and 12. Juror 11?
Yes.
Juror 12? Yes. All right, all jurors have stated that the verdict forms reflect their individual true and correct verdicts. Alex, read it. Yes, Your Honor.
The Los Angeles Superior Court, County of Los Angeles. People of the State of California versus Joaquin Mayers, case number BA 508142-01. We, the jury in the above entitled action, find the defendant, Joaquin Mayers, not guilty of
Not get the audience. Or the nice audience.
Hold down, hold down. Verdict has to be done.
Repeat again, we, the jury, above the type of actions, find the defendant, Rakeem Mayers, not guilty of semi-automatic firearm in violation of Penal Code Section 245, Section B, a felony, charging count one of the information, this 18th day of February 2025, jury seat number 9, 4 person. All right, title for the cause, we, the jury, in the above title action, find the defendant, Rakeem Mayers, not guilty of the crime of assault with firearm in violation of Penal Code Section 245, Section B, a felony, charging count 2 of the information, this 18th day of February 2025, juror seat number 9, 4 person.
During this trial, I watched you periodically. You did what we asked of you at the very beginning, which is to give both sides a fair trial, pay attention, use your common sense, apply the law, and base your verdict on the evidence. I know you took extensive notes, and you took this as seriously as any jury could. We cannot have jury trials without folks like this. So you certainly have my gratitude. I want to extend to you my best wishes. Again, thank you. The admonition to not discuss the case no longer applies. You can talk about the case with anybody you want to, or nobody if you don't want to. Alex has your certificates of completion. You can take your juror badges with you. Thank you again. You are excused.
Everybody remain seated in the public. We're gonna let the jurors walk out first.
All right, you just have heard from the jury there that they found ASAP Rocky not guilty of 2 felony counts of assault from a 2001 shooting. And again, this is breaking news. A verdict reached in the assault trial involving ASAP Rocky, not guilty. And of course, if you were just tuned in a minute ago, you heard the eruption of cheers in the courtroom. Good evening. You're watching the KTLA 5 News at 5. I'm Cher Calvin.
And I'm Micah Ullman. Thank you for joining us again. This involving an argument he had with a former friend in Hollywood in 2021. That friend claimed that a gun was used and that shots were fired in his direction, and that in fact he was injured in his hand. ASAP Rocky's defense team all along has maintained it was a prop gun that was used. And keep in mind, ASAP Rocky rejected a plea deal pre-trial that would have netted him 180 days in jail, instead deciding to let this go to trial and facing, if found guilty on those 2 felony counts, up to 24 years in prison. So it was a big risk on the part of ASAP Rocky and his defense team, and a risk that has paid off. Rachel Menitoff is live in downtown LA. Rachel.
Yes, Micah, Cher, we heard cheers inside the courtroom as the verdict was announced. And as you mentioned, ASAP Rocky found not guilty of 2 counts of felony assault with a semi-automatic handgun. He was accused of shooting at a former friend turned enemy. He had been accused of shooting at Terrell Efron, also known as ASAP Rocky, during an argument in Hollywood back in 2021. And during the closing arguments, the jury heard conflicting stories about what happened on the night of November 6th, 2021. The prosecution alleged Rocky used a 9mm semi-automatic handgun to shoot at Relly twice, with 1 bullet grazing his knuckles. Rocky's defense, on the other hand, maintained the Grammy-nominated star was in possession of a harmless prop gun which shot blanks, and this does not constitute a crime. Witnesses, including Rocky's tour manager, backed this claim. Neither side, though, was able to produce the actual gun used during trial. And with surveillance footage that was too grainy to be definitive, jurors were left to weigh this conflicting testimony. Now, back out here live, we are hoping and expecting now to hear from ASAP Rocky's defense attorney. We heard cheers inside the courtroom when this verdict was read. We know that Rocky is in the courtroom. We saw his longtime partner, Rihanna, also walk into the courtroom. And so now there's a large group of local and national media outlets waiting to hear from both the defense and the prosecution following this verdict.
All right. So you all heard that. James Allen said people walk around with prop guns. That's what I was going to say, beloved. Okay, so A$AP Rocky, was it really a prop gun? Now, they never showed the gun. They never brought it or produced it. And that's interesting because that's a very good question. Prop guns are usually on the sets of movies, okay, when they're making a movie or something or video. I don't know anybody that walks around with a prop gun, but hey, if he says it was a prop gun, that's what it was. And he got off, okay? I think the former friend was just a hater. All right, and so 100 Black Rock says, Queen, you are Betty Boopish. Thank you, beloved. I appreciate you. I think that was a compliment. And thank you for your contribution to the channel. Peace, love, and blessings. And do you all know, speaking of Betty Boop, even though Betty Boop is often depicted as a white person, Betty Boop is actually a Black woman, okay? That was actually a Black woman in real life. So anyway, thank you for that, beloved. Okay, so now let's go to what his attorney had to say just outside of the courthouse. Like stuff, everyone, please like and share. Then we're going to move on to Diddy.
Guys, I ain't trying to go for it. Look, guys, we're gonna... guys. Let him speak. Hey, guys, we can't do this if everyone's gonna yell. We'll just have to leave. But listen, guys, listen.
Let your talk.
Hey! Guys, chill, man. Relax.
No, I need your lowest contacts, man.
Guys, bottom line is, we're grateful for the jury. They saw through this barrage of a case.
CIA.
From day one, he was innocent. He turned down a plea for almost no jail time because he was innocent. And I've always said this was an extortion. The extortion played out live in color in court. You know, we've always said what it says is that the district attorney should look long and hard at prosecuting Tyrell Efron.
Selective prosecution.
We said that from day one. They should do it now. They have him admitting to perjury. They have him committing extortion. The jury saw through it and came to an enormously quick and speedy verdict, the right verdict, and we thank this jury. And again, for me, my partner Chad, we're honored to have represented this amazing family. Rocky is one of my closest friends, but he's also just a great person.
We love him.
Rihanna, they are seriously the greatest people, and I said I love them, and I really do love them, and I got emotional in my summation because I care about them. This is one of the happiest days of my life, and I'm happy for them because they've earned this and deserve it.
Congratulations, family. Congratulations.
Let's all say amen. Amen.
All right. So there you all have it. And shout out to Rihanna for holding her man down, okay? Greta Lee said, Betty Boop is a Black woman. C Queen comes through with facts we never knew. Thank you, beloved. I appreciate you. Yeah, she absolutely was. Matter of fact, it is Black History Month, so let me just pull up her picture. Her name was Esther Jones. And she was from Chicago. So let's talk about it for just a moment. Okay, and I have something else pertaining to Black history for you guys. And this is pertaining to Diddy's case. Because Diddy's crying racism, honey. We're going to get into it because he's not lying. This law that he's been indicted under does have racist origins. He's not lying about that. But Diddy, please sit down somewhere. Okay, the origin of Betty Boop. Okay, here she is right here. This is the actual person where Betty Boop came from, okay? Please pay attention, honey. Don't y'all know that most of the iconic pictures and symbols and things like that are Black people, come from the origins of Black people, like the show The Lone Ranger. The Lone Ranger was a Black man, Bass Reeves, okay? He was a U.S. Marshal, and he reigned over the territory that is now known as Oklahoma for 27 years. And he had a Native American sidekick, and that's where they got Tonto from, okay? Now, with that all been said, let's talk about it. Esther Lee Baby Esther Jones, okay? They called her Baby Esther, a Chicago woman and well-known singer of the 1920s, is the initial the initial inspiration for the cartoon character Betty Boop, okay, who first appeared in the 1930s. Jones's musical compositions fell under the growing jazz community, yet her child-sounding voice and popular Boop-a-Doop-Doo performance at Harlem's Cotton Club landed her a recognizable role in the music community. Okay, so I'm not going to read all of that, but there you see. All right. So there's your Black History moments. Please pay attention. All right. I am a jack of all trades. All right. I keep telling y'all I'm not a one-trick pony. Okay. So with that all being said, now let's continue because let's talk about Diddy. Oh my goodness. Diddy is trying everything he can to, in fact, get out of jail. Honey, Diddy wants a get out of jail free card. But honey, this is not the game of Monopoly. It's the game of life, and Diddy, it looks like you're losing at this point. Okay, so Diddy is saying that it's all racist, count 3. He wants that count dismissed from his indictment, from the superseded indictment, because he says, in fact, that it is racist in origins. And here is the paperwork. Okay, this is just a brief 2-page document that was filed on yesterday. Okay, notice of motion to dismiss count 3 of the superseded indictment. Please take notice that upon the accompanying memorandum of law, defendant Sean Combs, by and through his signed attorneys, will move this court at the United States Courthouse, 500 Pearl Street, New York, 10007, at a date and time to be determined by the court for an order dismissing count 3 of the superseded indictment. Okay, and it is dated with yesterday's date, and then all of his attorneys have signed it. Okay, this is all so nefarious. Diddy is clearly desperate, like I told y'all. He is desperate. So now let's talk about it because, hold on, there's also a news report about Diddy. I'm going to go to that too. But, you know, Diddy does say that the Mann Act is racist in its origins, and it absolutely is. Okay, so I'm going to share my screen. Share my screen. We're going to watch this news report, and then we're going to talk more about it. And then I'll show you all, I'll talk to you all about the origins of it.
Developing now, an Oklahoma woman becomes one of dozens of people who have sued Sean Diddy Combs on sexual assault allegations. There is a new lawsuit, LaToya Grayson, claiming that she was drugged and assaulted at a party in 2006 after winning a radio contest for an all-expenses-paid trip to New York City and to Diddy's party. The lawsuit claims that there wasn't a bar for party attendees, but pre-made drinks that waitresses were walking around with. Grayson says after 2 of those, she began to feel sick, and the next thing that she remembers is waking up at a hospital with no memory of the events prior. Grayson's shirt was ripped, underwear was missing, she says. She was shoeless, her money was gone. Grayson claims that when she arrived to the Sooner State, she received a call from an anonymous woman who threatened her that if she attempted to pursue charges, that she was threatening her. Now, she did not seek any further medical treatment or report anything because, quote, she was scared and confused. Grayson is demanding a trial by jury among multiple other victims who are pursuing similar charges against the rapper and R&B star.
Okay, now you all remember that case because I've read all the legal docs to you. And that lady, I believe that she's absolutely lying. She didn't say that Diddy did it specifically because she said she didn't remember. But then she claims that someone called her and told her she better not say anything because Diddy's a superstar. Yeah, I don't believe her. And by the fact that her attorney is none other than Ariel Mitchell, I definitely don't believe her, okay? Now, so attorneys for Sean Diddy Combs are moving to dismiss one of the charges that the embattled music mogul is facing, arguing that the currently incarcerated Combs has been the subject of a racist prosecution, which prosecutors have previously strongly denied, of course. Now, this case is unprecedented in many ways, but perhaps most notably and most disturbingly, no white person has ever been the target of a remotely similar prosecution. This is what Diddy's defense argued in a new motion filed Tuesday evening. Okay, they say no white person's ever been indicted under this, never been charged under this or targeted under this. Now, that's very interesting. Okay, they say Mr. Combs has been singled out because he is a powerful black man and he has been prosecuted for conduct that regularly goes unpunished. It did in the case of Hugh Howell. He's got another point, but let me continue. Combs' attorneys are asking the court to drop count 3 in the superseded indictment against Combs, transportation to engage in prostitution. That's the count they want dismissed, arguing that there has never been a similar prosecution under the Mann Act. Now, the Mann Act was previously called the White Slave Traffic Act. It was passed in 1910 to prohibit the transportation of women for prostitution and human trafficking. Now, CNN has reached out to prosecutors at the Southern District of New York for comment. Attorneys for Diddy have previously accused the government of racism, which prosecutors strongly denied. Now, one of Diddy's attorneys, Mark Agnifilo, told TMZ in an interview last year that the case was a takedown of a successful black man. Well, you know, I'm not going to argue with that because that's always the case with Bill Cosby, with R. Kelly. This is what it is. Now, I'm not saying that R. Kelly didn't do things to help himself be taken down. And that's what I always say, that these black men who rise to the level of power, you know, and prestige as these other people like Clive Davis and all of them, they can't do the same things and get away with the same things because as soon as they get out of line, they're going to get snatched right back in place. Okay, so that's how that goes. And yeah, this does often happen to powerful black men. Because when these white men, some of them, not all, but when many of them get called out for things, it just quietly goes away in some cases. Now, that all being said, they say prosecutors took issue with Agnefilo's statements, okay, raising concerns in court. Now, they say he basically accused the government of engaging in a racist prosecution. One of the prosecutors told the judge at an October hearing, adding that the accusations posed a serious risk, okay, for a fair trial. Now, Combs' attorneys argued that the statute has only been used to prosecute people of color, writing that what was racist in its inception has been racist in its operation. Now, the charge of transporting escorts across state lines for purposes of prostitution is based on a law that his defense says it's based on a law which has a long and troubling history as a statute with racist origins used to target black men and supposedly protect white women from them. That's exactly why they started. Okay, Combs is facing 3 federal charges, also including racketeering, conspiracy, and trafficking. He has pleaded not guilty to all the charges and is currently being held at a federal detention center in New York City. Now, attorneys for Combs did not provide any additional comment to CNN on Tuesday in regards to their latest filing. Okay, so now what do you all think? I'm telling you like this. Diddy is really trying to get up out of there, but at the end of the day, this does have racist origins. Okay, and they do use this against black men. I have never read or, you know, heard of a white man being tried for it. I just definitely haven't. Okay, but so let's talk about it. Like stuff, everyone, please like and share. Let's talk about the origins of it. Because Diddy said that it has racist origins. And since it's Black History Month, I guess we'll get into it, okay? Because y'all know I usually do some stuff for Black History Month, and I haven't done anything as of yet. And also, don't forget that the Queen's birthday is next week, right? February the 27th. Isn't that next week? All right, and so here's how this all got started. Now, this is James Robert Mann, okay? That's a picture of him from 1917. Now, one of the landmarks of progressive era legislation was the White Slave Traffic Act, better known as the Mann Act, for its author, Illinois Congressman James Robert Mann. Now, the Mann Act made it a crime to transport women across state lines for the purpose of prostitution or debauchery, or for any other immoral purpose. While designed to combat forced prostitution, the law was so broadly worded that courts held it to criminalize many forms of consensual sexual activity. Now, I want you all to pay attention. Do y'all hear that part? Because isn't that, in fact, what Diddy's defense team said when they saw the videos, the 9 videos that Cassie turned over to them of her and Diddy and other people engaged in activities, right? They said that this was people engaged in consensual. And let us also not forget that I told you that one of the anonymous agents allegedly went to the New York Post and admitted that they had video footage of Diddy and others and said that they could not tell whether or not it was unconsensual. And as I told you before as well, if those people who are suing Diddy claim that they were given illegal substances that caused them to be unconscious and they didn't know what was happening and didn't consent, That would be visibly obvious if you're watching a video of someone who's incapacitated. But if you can't tell, then that means to me the person wasn't incapacitated 9 times out of 10. So they're definitely going to use this. And now I want you all to pay attention, because Diddy had some good attorneys. Because what Mark Agnifilo and Tina Garagos and the rest of them are doing is they're pulling out all the stops. And that's what they're paid to do. So they're going to use this argument about the Mann Act being racist in its origin, and it absolutely is. There is no denying it. Okay, there is no denying it. And they even mentioned specifically that it was used to criminalize many forms of consensual sexual activity, and it was soon being used as a tool for political persecution. Okay, specifically of a black man by the name of Jack Johnson. Okay, they used it to criminalize a black man named Jack Johnson, and here's why. Because he had a white wife. Okay, so they used it for the political persecution of Jack Johnson and others, as well as a tool for blackmail. So the Mann Act was born during the white slavery hysteria of the early 20th century. Along with other moral purity movements of the period, the white slavery craze had its roots in fears over the rapid changes that the Industrial Revolution had brought to American society. Urbanization, immigration, the changing role of women, and evolving social mores. As young single women moved to the city and entered the workforce, they were no longer protected by the traditional family-centered system of courtship, and were subjected to what Jane Addams called the grosser temptations, which now beset the young people who are living in its tenement houses and working in its factories. As progressive era social reformers, many of whom did not distinguish between sexually active women and prostitutes, began to call attention to what they saw as a widespread decline in morality, and foreigners emerged as an easy target. Unfettered immigration provided an endless supply of both foreign prostitutes and foreign men who lured American girls into immortality. Now they're talking about white women. Okay, I want you to pay attention, because they never want to call them out for their own stuff that they do, but they always want to act like someone enticed or seduced them into doing it. Please pay attention. That's how they've depicted them throughout history. Okay, while they act like the black woman has always been one that should be sexually objectified and has always been, of the Jezebel spirit. That's how they portray black women. And also, let's not forget how, since we're talking about it, how they never had a problem with, Caucasian men taking things from black women without their permission or consent. And in fact, if you were a black woman and fought back and injured or even killed your abuser or attacker, you could go to prison. In most cases, they did. Okay, even get the death penalty if you killed your attacker. And this is still true to this day. Okay, let's not forget about Centoya Brown, how she went to prison for killing her attacker. All right, and then there's been other young black teenagers who have been accused of being prostitutes when in fact they were trafficked. Okay, they don't give the same empathy and sympathy to people who look like me. Please pay attention. Now it goes on to say, muckraking journalists fueled the hysteria with sensationalized stories of innocent girls kidnapped off the streets by foreigners, and then they were drugged and smuggled across the country and forced to work in brothels. Borrowing a term from the 19th century labor movement, muckraker George Kibb Turner called prostitution white slavery, and in a 1997 article in the McClure's magazine claimed a loosely organized association largely composed of Russian youths was the primary source of supply of the Chicago brothels. Now I'm going to skip past some of this. They talk about how they were even going to Canada and getting victims and all of that. Trying to get to where it specifically talks about Jack Johnson. Now the whole thing with Jack Johnson is the fact that this man was married to this white woman. And he was rich because he was a boxer, okay? And he was really good at it, okay? He was winning all these fights and everything. He had all this money. And so here it is right here. So such an interpretation of the law, in effect, criminalized all premarital or extramarital sexual relationships that involved interstate travel. With behavior that was so commonplace, now illegal, federal prosecutors had a weapon that could very easily be abused in order to prosecute undesirables. When they talk about undesirables, they're talking about Black people, okay? Or they also are talking about immigrants. They're talking about anybody who's non-white. Whenever they talk about undesirables, okay, please pay attention. So they say it could be easily abused in order to prosecute undesirables who were otherwise law-abiding citizens. Now, Jack Johnson's conviction in 1913 was ostensibly for transporting a white prostitute from Pittsburgh to Chicago, but was motivated by public outrage over his marriages to white women. Now, in 1944, actor Charlie Chaplin was acquitted of a Mann Act indictment stemming from a paternity suit. In actuality, the case was motivated by Chaplin's left-of-center political views and was personally investigated or instigated by FBI Director J. Edgar Hoover, who had called Chaplin one of Hollywood's parlor Bolsheviks. Okay. So with that all being said, in 1959, Black rock and roll star Chuck Berry was convicted of violating the Mann Act and served 20 months in prison for transporting across state lines an underage Apache girl who was weeks later arrested on a prostitution charge. The Mann Act has never been repealed, but it has been substantially amended in recent years. In 1978, Congress updated the definition of transportation in the act and added protection for minors of either sex against commercial sexual exploitation. A 1986 amendment further protected minors and added protection for adult males and replaced debauchery and other immoral purpose with any sexual activity for which any person can be charged with a criminal offense. Okay, so they actually came up with this law specifically for Jack Johnson. Or they specifically prosecuted him under, please pay attention, for marrying white women and dating white women. Unforgivable Blackness, the rise and fall of Jack Johnson. All right, so that was your Black History Moment. Don't say that I didn't give you all any gems. Please pay attention. And here's the thing, Diddy trying to get a dismissal. I find it also interesting, like I said, because they got a dismissal the other day. Diddy got one win, and so now he's gotten a taste of it, and he wants more. Okay, Ebony Eye says, if Diddy is the wrong person, this is the racist law the legal authorities are using to convict Black men. Consensual relations shouldn't be later used to convict any man. I absolutely agree, beloved. I absolutely agree, okay? I absolutely agree. Chuck Berry always broke the law with having young white girls. He was a pedo. Chuck's music was talking about girls, says Sheila. Okay. You know, I guess there was a lot of that going on back then. But here's the thing. I find it interesting that they arrested Chuck Berry, but they didn't do anything about Jerry Lee Lewis, who was 23 when he married his own 13-year-old cousin. Nor did they do anything about Elvis Presley, who married Priscilla Presley when she was 14 and he was 24 and then moved her into the Graceland Mansion. See, these are the things that I'm talking about, and it's absolutely racist, okay? No, you should not be a pedo no matter your race or ethnic origins, but at the end of the day, if you're going to have laws for that, let's use it for everybody who breaks those laws, not just a certain group of people. And that's what Diddy and his attorneys are talking about. That's the problem right there. Thank you for your insight into the topic, beloved. Okay, so now with that all being said, let's talk about Ray J and Suge Knight, because what in the hell is Ray J up to? What is Ray J up to? Let's get into it, honey, because I have the audio, which I'm going to play with Suge Knight going in on Ray J. Okay. In an explosive recording, ex-death row executive Suge Knight makes shocking allegations saying Ray J was involved in the death of late singer Whitney Houston and that Snoop Dogg confided in him, telling him that he had something to do with Tupac's murder. Okay, I find it also interesting. Before we get into that, let's have a word from our sponsor at 12 Tribes. Likes up, everyone, please. Don't forget to like and share. That's one way you can absolutely support the stream for free.
Do not buy 12 Tribes on Earth hair growth oil and hair magic elixir unless you want super healthy, gorgeous hair that grows. They have a whole line of amazing hair growth products, including hair growth leave-in conditioner spray, hair growth shampoo, hair growth spray, and hair growth butter. I'm starting to sense a theme here. They include quality natural ingredients. They smell amazing, and you can see the results for yourself. So if you're looking for healthy hair growth for your natural or relaxed hair, try 12 Tribes on Earth today.
Okay, so don't forget you can purchase 12 Tribes for your hair at Etsy.com. Just look for Lisa Crafts, and you can also find it at Walmart.com. Now I'm going to share my screen so you all can hear what Suge had to say. Likes up, everyone, please like and share. Thank you in advance. Here we go.
I'm quite sure it's some interesting things that you guys can put together and tell your story. It's for me to tell my motherfucking story. When it comes to the part where you talk about Left Eye had a problem, if he died because of me, that's a lie. But let's talk about some facts. Whitney Houston, it's on your hands. I remember the conversation when she thought her life was in the toilet. She didn't even say your name. She just used the term that Brandy's little brother bringing me drugs and doing drugs with me. Brandy's little brother trying to kiss me and do drugs with me. Next thing you know, she's dead. You brag about all these phone calls recorded. You brag about how Snoop tell you and told you he's a part of the people who put bread to kill Pac. That's why I say don't mention Tupac's name in none of your interviews, because you fuck with the motherfucker Snoop who said he had something to do with it. So Snoop was involved in killing hip-hop best all-time artist. You was involved in killing the best female vocalist that ever did it, Whitney Houston. So to get your ratings to go up for Love and Hip Hop, wherever the fuck that is, or wherever you guys got to do to be relevant, talk about that. That alone speaking volumes.
All right. Well, y'all heard what he said. Y'all heard what he said. Now, Ebony I says, we as Black people should know, me too, and every new crime fighting movement will always be targeted at us, which is why we need to stop allowing ourselves to become the face of it. Exactly. And this is all true. COINTELPRO was targeted, the Black Panther Party. And then you're absolutely right about all of these, the war on drugs, that targeted our people as well. Any laws they come out talking about wars and targeting, yeah, it always is targeting people who look like me. That is a fact. Thank you, beloved. Okay, so y'all heard what he said. And, he said that Snoop Dogg supposedly, now he claims that Ray J said that Snoop Dogg told him that he had something to do with it. I don't know if Snoop Dogg told him that or not, but I wouldn't really be surprised because Snoop Dogg and Ray J are cousins. Snoop Dogg and Ray J are cousins, so maybe he did tell him that. I don't know, honey, but there has been rumors about that for decades, okay, about Snoop Dogg having something to do with it. I don't know if he did or not, but Snoop Dogg, if you did, ooh, honey, I hope you get your karma too. But let me continue. Like stuff, everyone, please like and share. Now, with that all being said, honey, let's talk about Trump and Elon, what's going down and what's going on. Well, before we get into that, let's talk about Jennifer Garner. How many of you know Jennifer Garner? So she's an actress who dated or was married to Ben Affleck. I don't recall if they were married. I think they maybe were, but anyway, they have kids together. But anyway, Hollywood actress and elitist Jennifer Garner has left many of her fans disturbed after uploading a video of herself reading a book titled Secret Pizza Party, okay, to children at a Save the Children event, which is currently under investigation for child trafficking. Okay, so I find it all so nefarious. Now they say the book is called Secret Pizza Party, and it instructs children to keep secrets. Yeah, it sounds nefarious. Now, on October the 8th of 2024, BBC reported police in Guatemala raided 5 regional offices of British aid agency Save the Children on Monday as part of the investigation into alleged child abuse. Okay, so I'm going to go to this little video of her showing this book. And y'all know what pizza is supposed to be a code for. I'm not going to get into it because I can only say so much on here. Y'all know how they do. Please pay attention. This is all nefarious, honey. These people.
It's called Secret Pizza Party. Then you're going to love this book. Here's Sebastian. Look. The end. It's called.
Okay, so y'all heard it, honey. These people are something else as far as I'm concerned. They are something else. Okay, so now let's get into it. Likes up, everyone, please like and share. Do you guys remember the other day when I was telling you how this man who voted for Trump wrote a letter to Trump? Well, I went and found the letter. A post by a MAGA supporter who said they were laid off because of Trump's cuts. Now it's going viral, so let's get into it. Let's talk about it. The department is responsible, now that's Doge, of course, is responsible for ensuring U.S. food production is safe. I'm sorry, no, not Doge. We're talking about the FDA or the USDA, okay? As part of Trump administration's mass government layoffs, probationary staff at 2 U.S. Department of Agriculture or USDA research agencies were fired on Valentine's Day. Now, the department is responsible for ensuring U.S. food production is safe, supporting farmers and infrastructure in rural areas. Okay, now, sustainability efforts that conserve land and more, according to their site, they say we keep America's farmers and ranchers in business and ensure the nation's meat, poultry, and egg products are safe, wholesome, and properly labeled. Okay, guys, my power is blinking. If anything happens and it blinks off, wait about 2 minutes for it to reboot the internet, okay? Hopefully it won't. Now, with that all being said, let's talk about the letter. I'm going to share my screen so you all can see it because I thought it was really sad that this man had all of his faith and hope and dreams in Donald Trump's presidency, and now here's his big disappointment. Okay, please pay attention. Y'all see this? This is the post right here. He posted on X. Donald J. Trump. Hello, sir. I am one of the probationary employees terminated by the Doge at 9 p.m. last night, February the 14th. I voted for you, sir, 3 times, and I still support you. And I was encouraged by the Doge to see they were getting rid of wasteful government spending. So I support that too. My termination letter said I was being let go for performance reasons. I know that's not true. I am an excellent employee. I've been with the federal government for almost 16 years. 16 years in June. I had started my career with USDA, transferred to DHS, and recently came back to USDA because it's such a great agency to work for. Surely that must count for something in your eyes. I'm loyal, and I firmly believe that the work I do as a USDA APHIS PPQ employee is vital and important. My boss, his boss, the managers in neighboring states all agree I'm doing an excellent job and that I'm a great asset to the team. I'm the only blank, he redacted whatever that was, in the state of Kentucky, and my work here is valued and honorable. Each time I voted for you, it was because I knew you'd make things right and you'd fix the wrongs. I'm counting on you now to make this right too. I'm pleading with you to reinstate my employment and give me my job back. Please, Mr. President, thank you. Ooh, honey, that is gut-wrenching, is it not? Now, here's what it says. Or, well, I already told you what it says, but here's what they have to say about this. I find it also interesting. They say in response to the post, now here's what they said after it was posted. They say in response to the post, little sympathy was found from MAGA supporting commenters. One person wrote, "This is business, people. You don't sacrifice a country with bankruptcy to let people keep a job. They are very employable. Does it suck? Yes, but it is a necessary evil." Okay, that's what somebody posted. Others questioned what the writer who says they fully support Trump and the layoffs expected. Do these people think they're going to get an exception because they're Trumpsters? Okay, that's what someone else said. Then someone says, this rings especially true of those who remember Trump's campaign promise to cut government spending. I hear you, this person wrote, but all along in his campaign, he proclaimed all he was going to do, and you believed it. So here you are, you voted for it. And so people don't feel sorry, you know, please pay attention. Okay, so anyway, what are you guys' thoughts on this? What do you all think about it? Because I thought it was, quite frankly, just a little sad for him. Thought it was just a little sad for him, honey. But what do y'all have to say? What do y'all have to say? Anybody in here get fired or laid off due to Trump? Panther Strike said, not a fan of Suge or Ray J, but really? I know, right? Oh no, this is all nefarious. Linda Jackson says, I'm not shocked. They use their innocence for their sins. Thank you for your insight into the topic, beloved, and your contribution to the channel. Peace, love, and blessing. This is all nefarious. And when you say they use their innocence for their sins, I believe you're talking about people like Jennifer Garner with that book she wrote, right? Can't we all just get along? Says Trump is excellent for Black America and all America. You think so? Oh, okay. 100 Black Ray says, I didn't vote for either. Yeah, neither did I. Neither did I, honey. I was going to vote for Dr. Shiva, like I told you guys, until he called Sabby Sabs a house ninja. Can't trust people these days, okay? Songwriter Sunny said it's the Omarosa package. Okay, so anyway, Panther Strike said, not me, Queen. I work for me. Never relied on the government for anything. Okay, I know that's right. All right, so let's continue, honey, because Trump and Zelensky are now beefing. You know, which I expected this. See, I knew this was coming because didn't I tell you all? Remember, you heard it here first. Didn't I tell you that Zelensky was going to get pissed off because we already know Trump's not going to keep sending him all those billions that Biden was sending him? Okay, yeah. So anyway, let's get into it. Likes up, everyone, please like and share. Thank you in advance. Trump and Zelensky. U.S. envoy visits Ukraine after Trump blames Zelensky for Russia's invasion. Okay, I'm going to share my screen.
Time is in Kyiv this morning for talks with President Volodymyr Zelensky about the ongoing war with Russia. The meeting comes a day after the U.S. and Russia agreed to begin work on bringing the conflict to an end, following face-to-face talks here in Saudi Arabia, as you're seeing now. Missing from these talks, though, were any officials from Ukraine. Yesterday, Zelensky said he was surprised his country hadn't been invited to those talks and reiterated a decision about ending the war that cannot be made without Ukraine. President Trump said he was disappointed by Zelensky's reaction and appeared to blame Ukraine for the war, even though it was invaded by Russia.
But today I heard, oh, well, we weren't invited. Well, you've been there for 3 years. You should have ended it 3 years. You should have never started it. You could have made a deal.
And just a few moments ago this morning, Zelensky is pushing back against President Trump, saying he, quote, lives in this disinformation space. James Waterhouse with our partners at BBC News is following developments from Kyiv.
I think Kyiv's worst case scenario couldn't even pictured the past week at the start of what is going to be a very difficult peace process for Ukraine. Not only has it not been involved in the first round of talks, which solely involved Russia and the US in Saudi Arabia, but we now have Donald Trump increasingly aligning himself with Moscow, where he suggested President Zelensky has an approval rating of just 4%. The latest figures suggest it's more like 52%. He's echoed that Moscow demand that there need to be elections in Ukraine, when here they have been legally postponed under martial law. And there are, of course, practical difficulties with hosting an election. How could you do it where there is fighting breaking out, artillery overhead, and occupied territory? They would neither be free, fair, or safe. And then, of course, you have the real stinger that we had from Mar-a-Lago, that Ukraine was to blame for the full-scale invasion that Russia started 3 years ago and continues to wage today. The American envoy to Ukraine, Keith Kellogg, has arrived by train, where he will meet with President Zelensky. On arriving, he said, look, I understand the importance of security guarantees for Ukraine, that military presence to stop Russia from invading in the future after any ceasefire is signed. But I imagine President Zelensky is going to want to call him up on a couple of points his boss, Donald Trump, made last night as Ukraine tries to insert itself in any way into these peace negotiations. Washington says it will be involved, but Ukraine really is starting on the back foot, hardly from a position of strength, when it looks like Russia is having its demands, its goals increasingly met.
All right, James Waterhouse, thank you.
Okay, I'm not surprised at all that Trump is criticizing Russia and Zelensky, because Trump doesn't like Zelensky. He never has, in my opinion. At the end of the day, he's always been a fan of Putin's, okay, and vice versa. Now let's go to what Zelensky had to say, because they clearly say that Zelensky hit back at Trump.
So many things, from the #1 dermatologist.
Witnessed this, the first formal, if hastily organized, US-Russian talks since Moscow's illegal invasion of Ukraine. The Trump administration unlocking Russia's isolation from the West in a Saudi Arabian palace without Ukraine or Europe at the table. President Trump's Secretary of State, National Security Advisor, and envoy opposite their Kremlin counterparts.
I think President Trump will know very quickly whether this is a real thing.
This morning, NBC News catching Russia's foreign minister as he left for the meeting.
Are you hopeful? Are you feeling hopeful?
For now, President Zelensky on the periphery, insisting last night, we cannot recognize any agreements about us made without us. But the fast-moving events have left European leaders in disarray. In Paris yesterday, again unable to agree on sending troops to help secure Ukraine. Russian television offering wall-to-wall coverage with interviews on the flight and touching down in Riyadh. One Russian official and his wife, the US believes, are close to President Putin's daughter. His role here to get sanctions lifted. He himself sanctioned by the US.
We really see that President Trump and his team is a team of problem solvers.
Almost 3 years of war has seen hundreds of thousands of casualties, Western officials say. A delegation of US senators in Kyiv trying to calm Ukrainian nerves that their country won't be carved up without them.
Of course they have to be at the table. There are thousands of people who have given their lives to defend this country.
While Russian forces pound Ukraine, a sobering reminder, this is the way President Putin negotiates.
And Laura, some of the Russian delegation just arriving
behind us there. Meanwhile, President Trump's special envoy for Russia and Ukraine, Keith Kellogg, in a briefing overnight saying he intends to spend 3 days in Ukraine this week and will go back multiple times. He says he will fully brief President Trump on the Ukrainian view.
All right. So you all heard that, honey. Zelensky is ticked off, okay? He wants those funds to keep rolling in. At the end of the day, that's what that's all about. And let me tell you all something. Now, listen. So remember how I was telling you guys that all this stuff that Elon is finding out, you know, is basically nothing more than money laundering, in my opinion. And I told you guys that the government has been engaging in money laundering for decades. Now, this is my opinion. I can't substantiate it. But I want you all to pay attention, because do you all remember when they pulled out of Afghanistan, okay, after being there for 20 years and not changing anything, because they initially went there, according to them, so they could take down the Taliban. But when they left, the Taliban was still running stuff, okay? The Taliban was still in power. So what did they really accomplish? You see, I believe that the U.S. really went over there because of all of the Coca-Cola fields, okay? The poppy seeds and all that. Now, but here's the thing that I thought was interesting. Do you all remember when I reported to you that the U.S. left behind $7 billion in military equipment in Afghanistan after a 2021 withdrawal, according to a Pentagon report? Do you all remember? I reported on that, and I thought that's crazy as hell. I said to myself at the time, why would they leave $7 billion worth of U.S. military equipment? They don't have a way to get it back over here. Why would they just leave it there? Well, I'm going to tell you why they left it there. Y'all see that, right? Y'all see the headline? I'm going to tell y'all why they left it there, because it wasn't there. Okay, because it wasn't there. Well, of course, they had equipment over there, but $7 billion of equipment was not left over there. I believe, now this is my opinion, but I do believe that some of the money, much of that money was not allocated for military equipment. They put it in their accounts, just like the other stuff that Elon's finding out. And they only said that there was $7 billion worth of military equipment, and they darn sure didn't leave that much over there. That's just my opinion. I think that that was part of the money laundering. Approximately $7 billion worth of military equipment the U.S. transferred to the Afghanistan government over the course of 16 years was left behind in Afghanistan after the U.S. completed its withdrawal from the country in August, according to a congressionally mandated report from the U.S. Department of Defense, viewed by CNN. This equipment is now in a country that is controlled by the very enemy the U.S. was trying to drive out over the past 2 decades, the Taliban. Here's the thing. I don't believe them, like I said, because we already know that they said in their own reports that Elon has dug up that they were sending money over to places to fund terrorism. They were feeding groups of people that were connected to Al-Qaeda. Isn't that what it said? Funding terrorist organizations, but we're supposed to think that they were actively over there trying to take down the Taliban. But conveniently, after 20 years, you mean to tell me that when y'all leave and pack up and haul ass back to America, that the Taliban's still in charge? How'd that happen? Y'all spent trillions of dollars for that war. I just want y'all to wake up and realize what's really going on here with our government. You know, in my opinion, they were over there getting all of those illegal substances, okay? And a lot of the illegal substances that we have in the United States, guess who brought them? Guess who brought them? But see, people who look like me are the ones who go to prison mostly for selling these things or engaging in work with these things or whatever. But the bottom line is, how do y'all think these things get here? Okay, y'all remember what Nino Brown said in New Jack City? Yeah, it's all absolutely true. The military, right over there with all the illegal substances, y'all don't think that some of that stuff, a lot of it, okay, was being brought back over here? And don't you think that maybe that's why the Taliban was still left in charge when the U.S. picked up and left? Because I don't think they were over there to take down the Taliban. I think they were over there to get all those illegal substances and bring them over here. Okay. I mean, let us not forget Oliver North's testimony decades ago. Okay. Let's not forget the Iran-Contra scan is all I'm saying. Let's not forget how shady and nefarious our own government has been in past history. Okay. But we can't get reparations. This is all so darn crazy. Okay. Red Wine Entertainment says, facts, Queen. Thank you, beloved. Lorraine says, or Shoshana says, people that look like us don't have the authority to fly to another country and pick anything up. Exactly. Okay, exactly. But they want to blame us for everything. Lorraine says the government has been doing this since Vietnam. Nothing new under the sun. Exactly. Exactly. You know, I'm glad you brought that up because I'm doing some work for a Vietnam vet. I'm helping them with something. And I'm going to talk to them about just exactly what was going on during that Vietnam War, okay, with all those, the drug stuff. Okay, Leon says the Queen is connecting the dots. Thank you, beloved. Okay, I'm just saying they have done a whole lot of shady things, and I just don't believe that they put the money to where they're claiming. Now, here's another thing. In that article, it says the U.S. gave a total of $18.6 billion worth of equipment to the Afghan National Defense and Security Forces, known as the ANDSF, from 2005 to August of 2021, according to a report. Of that total equipment worth $7.12 billion remained in Afghanistan after the U.S. withdrawal was completed on August 30th of 2021. It included aircraft, air-to-ground munitions, military vehicles, weapons, communications equipment, and other materials, according to the DoD report. Now, don't get me wrong. I'm not saying they didn't leave military stuff over there. I'm sure they did, but not that much. Billions of dollars worth. Yeah, I don't believe it. Not $7 billion worth. Now, the huge value of the hardware left behind will serve to refocus attention on the chaotic and hasty Afghanistan withdrawal that has been heavily criticized by lawmakers from both parties. They say much of the remaining equipment left in Afghanistan requires specialized maintenance that DoD contractors previously provided to Afghan forces in the form of technical knowledge and support. Oh, well, like I said, they're full of crap. They are so full of BS, and that's just what it is. Okay, so I'm going to go to this little clip of Sean Hannity doing an interview with Trump and Elon. And then I'm out of here. Likes up, everyone, please like and share. Thank you in advance. Okay, Terry Hinton said BlackRock will own Ukraine. Okay, and you know, speaking of owning Ukraine, that's what Zelensky said about Trump. Okay, he said, tell Trump the Ukraine isn't for sale. Okay, because Trump's trying to own everything. Please pay attention.
Trump took office, the president and billionaire Elon Musk discussed their wide-sweeping efforts to slash spending and shrink the size of the federal workforce. Already, thousands of employees across multiple government agencies have received termination notices, though some by mistake. CBS's Jared Hill has more.
I wanted great people, and he's a great person.
On Fox News, President Donald Trump and his senior advisor Elon Musk defended their aggressive efforts to slash through the federal government.
All we're really trying to do here is restore the will of the people through the president.
He gets it done. He's a leader.
The interview aired hours after a federal judge in D.C. denied a request from 14 Democrat-led states to block Musk's Department of Government Efficiency from accessing data systems and firing workers at 7 government agencies. The judge called Doge's actions unpredictable, but added she couldn't restrain the work without clear evidence of imminent, irreparable harm.
What do we want?
Public criticism continues to grow. Tuesday, crowds protested outside the Centers for Disease Control and Prevention, one of multiple agencies hit by thousands of job cuts. Folks newly hired or promoted hit the hardest. But along the way, Doge has made errors. Just last night, the Department of Agriculture admitted it's trying to get back workers who were accidentally fired. Veterinarians and animal health technicians working to prevent the spread of bird flu.
One of the biggest functions of the Doge team is just making sure that the presidential executive orders are actually carried out.
On that front, Tuesday, President Trump signed executive orders directing his administration to find ways to reduce the cost of in vitro fertilization, and another to rein in independent government agencies like the Federal Trade Commission, further extending the power of the White House. Jared Hill, CBS News.
In other news, Georgia residents are going to be happy to hear this.
Okay, so now what do y'all have to say about it? Miss J says they don't want Musk to stop their illegal money trade. Okay, I find it all interesting, but hold on. Let's go back to Trump and Zelensky real quick, because here's the thing. So they say Ukrainian President Vladimir Zelensky on Wednesday hit back at Donald Trump's accusation that Ukraine started this war with Russia, saying that the American president is trapped in a disinformation bubble and adding that his country was not for sale. The pugnacious response followed Trump's surprising comments Tuesday that Ukraine was responsible for Russia's invasion of the country 3 years ago. Trump also argued that Kyiv could have made a deal to avoid the conflict. Now, the president added that its Ukrainian counterparts' approval ratings sat at 4% in Ukraine, despite an approval poll released Wednesday by the Kyiv International Institute of Sociology, showing that 57% of Ukrainians trust Zelensky. They say, as we are talking about 4%, we have seen this information. We understand it's coming from Russia. This is what Zelensky said. Now, he added that any attempts to replace him during the war would fail. And Trump raised the questions of Ukrainian elections following Russian President Vladimir Putin's repeated assertions that Zelensky is not Ukraine's legitimate leader. Okay, contending that the overwhelming majority of Ukrainians would not support concessions to Russia. Saying the army is quite resilient and it is the most resilient in Europe, and it guarantees us the opportunity to speak with dignity and on an equal footing with the partners, allies or non-allies, Zelensky says. Referring to U.S. support given to Ukraine so far, they say $67 billion in weapons and $31.5 billion in budgetary support. Zelensky said that America demands that Ukraine should hand more than $500 billion in minerals, okay, was not a serious conversation, and added that he cannot sell his country. Now, I want y'all to pay attention, because clearly Trump's asking for some of that money back. He must be asking for some of that money back, because Zelensky said that American demands that Ukraine should hand more than $500 billion in minerals was not a serious conversation, and that he cannot sell his country. So now when they want something back from him, and that's likely Trump, of course, he doesn't want to give anything up, talking about his country's not for sale. Now, Zelensky's statements came the day after Trump responded to remarks that the Ukrainian leader had made earlier about not wanting anyone making decisions behind our backs. Speaking to reporters at his Mar-a-Lago resort late Tuesday, Trump said he believed he had the power to end the war in Ukraine, but today I heard, oh, well, we weren't invited. Well, you've been there for 3 years, he said. Okay, you should have never started it. You could have made a deal. That's what Trump said to Zelensky. Now, the reaction in Moscow to the broader change in direction of U.S. foreign policy has been more upbeat. Speaking to Russian lawmakers on Wednesday, Russian Foreign Minister Sergei Lavrov did not directly address Trump's comments, but suggested the Kremlin was pleased with talks thus far. They said the U.S. president is the first and so far, apparently, the only Western leader who has publicly and loudly said that one of the root causes of the Ukrainian situation was the brazen path of the previous administration to draw Ukraine into NATO. This is what Lavrov said. No Western leader has ever said this. This is already a signal that he understands our position. Okay, this is what he said in a speech that covered the broader second Trump administration rather than the president's specific remarks on Tuesday. The Kremlin will also have been pleased with Trump's comment about Ukrainians that Ukrainians may be asking about the status of the country's next election. In doing so, Trump echoed the criticism of Russian President Vladimir Putin, who has ruled Russia for all but 4 of the past 25 years, but has repeatedly questioned the electoral legitimacy of Zelensky's continuing leadership. Okay, so honey, this is all getting real ugly. So Zelensky is clearly pissed at Trump, and I knew this was going to happen. Like I told you all, Trump's not giving them a dime. Okay, and Zelensky's not trying to hear it, because Biden has been fattening his pockets and greasing his palms for 3 years now. Okay, but you got people up here homeless, sleeping on the streets. Yeah, make that make sense. Veterans specifically. Okay, and let me just show you all one more thing before I leave up out of here. How many of you know that income tax, paying an income tax, is supposed to be voluntary? How many of you know that? One's in the chat. One's in the chat if you know that paying an income tax for your wages is supposed to be voluntary. Okay, because I'm going to go to this video, and I want you all to pay attention, honey, because our government is just nefarious. They are absolutely nefarious. And please tell me how this makes any sense, what this woman is sitting up here saying.
As we all know, that our U.S. tax system is a voluntary tax system, and we depend on people willing every year to sit down, fill out that form, and pay their appropriate amount of taxes. So I really think enforcement is a reward to those who voluntarily comply. And I think if the public does not see that the IRS is enforcing the laws, we're going to be at risk of losing people continuing to voluntarily comply.
Y'all heard that, right? Y'all heard what she said? She said that paying an income tax is voluntary and that people should appreciate that the IRS is enforcing the law. How the hell is it a law if it's voluntary? See how that makes no sense? Then she said that we appreciate the fact that they're enforcing the law and that if they weren't enforcing the law, they might lose a bunch of people who are voluntarily paying an income tax. I want y'all to pay attention. I want y'all to pay attention because that's what she said, voluntary. And if you don't believe me, just watch this documentary called From Freedom to Fascism. Okay, please watch that. Honey, when I found that out, I sent them a statutory declaration so quick. Hold on, let me see if I can find that documentary so I can drop the link. This is all nefarious. Likes up, everyone, please like and share. While I'm looking this up for you guys, and y'all can thank me in advance for helping y'all out a bit. But while I'm looking for that, let me put up something for the intermission. Hold on. Here we go.
Lights shining down in the moonlight, girl, can't help but feel this connection flow with every move. Along the floor, where you smile, makes me want more. Heartbeat and sing, at the sound of soul. Tonight we dance, just lose control. I can't resist the way you move. It's in this, you always easy. Let's dance above. This night is ours. Wrapped in our love, the bandits play a melody sweet, can't help but feel.
All right, that was another Queen Ahmadiyyah Shakur production. Please pay attention. Okay, so I just put the link in the chat for the documentary. It's called America, From Freedom to Fascism. Okay, and it tells you about this man who went on a quest to find out if, in fact, we're supposed to be paying an income tax. Okay? There it is in the chat. So that all been said, listen, I have to get out of here. I may be back later. If there's any breaking news, I'll definitely be back. Okay, so I want you all to enjoy the rest of this beautiful day. Each one teach one. That's how we grow and thrive. Do something productive, constructive, but never destructive. And always remember, beloveds, to keep the Most High first in your lives. Okay, making sure I didn't forget to tell you all anything. Okay, and until next time, I will talk to you all again soon. Peace.
Gold all in my skin, God all in my blood, kings all in my circle. You touch one of mine and you're done. They show no love for the queen. Why you hating on me? Is it cause I'm free and I got Malcolm X in my jeans? I got dreams like King Luther, shed blood like Kunsa. You ain't helping my people, I ain't got nothing to say to ya. I want all the smoke like hookah. Talking reparations, America won't be great until they give us compensation. I'm like, I'm the hottest right now. See a bunch of lames out here trying to jock on my style. They be doing too much. I'm the queen, it's too easy. It's like they all at Popeyes, how they be talking so greasy. I just sit back and laugh while these haters get madder. So nefarious how they don't want my pockets with cheddar. I tell them they can do better. These snakes in the grass can leave a bite on your ass, cause y'all be trusting too fast. I got my foot on the gas, other one on they necks. Dropping receipts on haters, you better show some respect. I'm never facing regrets, we only facing the threats. Running through every challenge like a relay, break no sweat. It's a cold game, so I got that blanket with me. Now that my people awaken, ain't no going to sleep. I do not play by my piece. This time I'm playing for keeps. You talking slick, but when I see you like them ends, we gon' meet. And I got gold all in my skin, God all in my blood, kings all in my circle. You touch one of mine and you done. They show no love for the queen. Why they hating on me? Is it cause I'm free and I got Malcolm X in my jeans and I got gold all in my skin, God all in my blood, kings all in my circle. You touch one of mine and you done. They show no love for the queen. Why they hating on me?